show you the incident so you can all see kind of how it went down, because it did go down on live, him soliciting information, whether intentionally or unintentionally,
That's right.
from a cameraman.
Y'all been over there and seen Buck? Is he catching them? He's probably getting blowed out over there too.
And as simple as it sounds, the first question might not get you a DQ. You been to see Buck? Yeah, man. But it's the second one. Is he catching them?
Well,
And
then even the follow-up, the information, he probably got blowed out. But if you,
that's right. You just can't get that information. And I've said it a couple times this morning, but say it again, in a potential situation where yesterday on live, we did see Buck and Skeeter fish in the same area. He knows where Buck has been the entire tournament. Skeeter's familiar with this lake.
and they can sit side by
That's
side
right.
and tell each other anything they want to tell each
They
other.
can, but in the chance that the cameraman says, man, he's got 25 pounds, Skeeter's having a rough morning, and Skeeter goes there, it just, incriminates everybody. You can't,
That's right.
can't do that. So that is why the decision was made. And again, we, hearts go out for sure
Absolutely.
to Skeeter and his
Unfortunate
family.
situation.
He wasn't trying to do anything shady. He was just caught up in the moment right there. And so he's been disqualified for the day.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. So I'm here in Hartwell, and I was driving all day today, which gave me the opportunity to watch the second day that the NPFL has run their own production crew with the coverage of their tournaments. Yes, they've got some work to do when it comes to tightening that up. But more importantly, what you just saw was on camera, Skeeter Crosby asking a cameraman who came to his boat how his roommate, Buck Mallory, was doing at a location that they had been fishing the day before. Were you over with Buck? How is he doing? Is he crushing him? And then made a statement about, I bet the water's dirtying up because the wind's blowing on it. Well, how's he doing? Is he crushing him? That's soliciting information. And I get it. I know that he wasn't intending to gain information. I'm sure he was just happy that a cameraman was going there. Buck's his roommate, so he's asking, is he doing good? I'm interested in how he's doing for him, not like I'm going to get it. But guys, this is a tough deal for Skeeter. I feel for him. I absolutely feel for him. Just like I feel for guys who lose the winning fish when it's right up within inches of their hands and it gets off. But the reality is we are in a day and time where tournaments are trying to adhere to these no information rules. Now, I'm not judging the no information rule. Quite honestly, maybe there's got to be some thinking about whether this rule is the right rule or not. But as it stands, all three tournament organizations have a rule that says you may not get information, and there's different cutoffs and things like that. You may not solicit information. Asking whether somebody is doing well at a certain location is soliciting information. And I understand it was an excited utterance. He didn't mean it from that standpoint. But how do we judge intent? We can't, especially when it's on live TV. There is no way to get around the fact that he did that. He did it on live TV, and you can't make any judgments about that. You can't judge intent because down the road something else is going to happen, and then you have to follow that. And if you want to question that, just look at Bass's history. Bass is all over the place. And guys, social media criticizes Bass all the time. You shouldn't have DQ'd Scott Martin. You shouldn't have DQ'd this person. Why did you only give this guy a warning and you gave this guy a fine? The bottom line is, if you're going to be transparent and you're going to do what you need to do, that means you got to hold everybody accountable for the rules, even when it hurts, even when it sucks. There's no way NPFL did the wrong thing here. NPFL did the hard thing, in my opinion. They did the hard thing, and it sucks to be them to have to do it, but they made the right call, in my opinion. I want to hear your opinions about this, but the reality is that if the rule says you can't solicit information, we all saw it happen. We know what he was probably thinking. We know that he probably didn't mean to do it. But and think about the options that NPFL had. They could have ignored it, just swept it under the rug. Who's that sound like? They could have made a judgment call and said, oh, well, since you didn't get an answer, we're going to give you a fine, we're going to give you a penalty, we're going to do something like that because it didn't impact your day's end result. Well, we've seen that happen on other leagues too, and you still get the points for it, you still get this, you still get that. And the reality is that when you ask for information, that's against the rule. And how do you make one call for one person when they ask for information on a telephone call, and another guy asks for information when a cameraman goes, and somebody's job it is to determine what the intent was in each of those. If you're going to do that, then the reality is there's no way to be fair, and you're going to get criticized everywhere, which is why I go back to maybe the rule shouldn't be what the rule is. But that's not what we're talking about. What I'm saying is, out of all the organizations, the other option, the third option that NPFL had was ignore it, make some kind of middle ground call, or follow the rules. And they followed the rules. They said, hey, you can't ask for help. You can't ask for information. You asked for the information, and we're going to have to DQ you. It sucks. I feel terrible for Skeeter Crosby. I really, really do. And I could make the same mistake in 3 days. I absolutely could, because if I was in that position, I would be very excited, and I could absolutely, not be in control of what I was saying. I absolutely could make the same mistake. And I would be pissed. I would be pissed. But the reality is that we are asking these tournament organizations to be transparent and to uphold the rules. And the reality is, I think NPFL did it. I really do. And for me on this channel, where I've been screaming at Bass and other organizations to be transparent and to have a uniform policy of this is what happens when you break the rules. From what I saw, this is the epitome of being transparent. It happened. I'm telling you guys, I was in the car driving and I went, that guy just asked for information. And admittedly, I didn't know what the rules were for NPFL. So I'm like, if he was in our league, that's a violation. That's wrong. And sure enough, an hour later, they come on the live broadcast, replay it, and say he's been disqualified. To me, that's transparent. Again, tough decision. I get it. I'm not arguing that. But the right call on NPFL. I'm probably going to get a ton of hate from you guys who feel bad for Skeeter and think that he got robbed. And I get it. It's tough. But, men got to make tough calls. And this was a tough call to make. But I think in the scheme of things, as things stand now, it was the right thing to do. All right, bring it on. Let me know whether you agree or disagree. And we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Mark Fisher Outdoors. Take care, everybody.